All righty. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 53rd episode of Brownsville Tech Live. And in the house tonight, we've got the Apple Guru of Gurus. He's back from being a snowbird up from the Northeast. He's back to his beloved South Texas and the hot weather. Doug, welcome back.
Hey, welcome back. I'm glad to be back. I had to come back for some heat.
You had to come back from some heat. Yep.
Oh God, I was freezing up there. My daughter, she keeps the house like it reminds me of Superman's Fortress of Solitude, you know, and and pretty cold. She keeps the house pretty cold, and the weather was pretty cold up there too. But it was nice. We got to see Jesse James for the Northfield, Minnesota is right near where she lives, and every year they have a thing called Frontiers Day when they
Yeah.
do a reenactment of the James Younger Gang shoot up there in Northfield.
Now, was this Jesse James gang?
Yeah, they went up there. They went up the Younger Gang and Jesse James. They went up and Frank James. They went up there in I think it was September of '76 to rob a bank up there. And they got in there and they found out that the bank had a timer on it. And not only that, the Pinkertons had caught it had spotted them in Minneapolis, and so they were waiting for him, and they robbed the bank. Well, they tried to rob the bank. They didn't get any money, and then they ambushed the Younger Gang and the James Gang. There's an excellent movie called The Long Riders. It was made by in 1982. It's got nothing but brothers in it. The
Oh, wow.
Carradine brothers and Stacy Keach and James Keach, and the Carradine brothers, and then Randy Quaid and Dennis Quaid, and it's probably the best movie. But the ambush is probably best shown in that movie. But they do a reenactment. They have they come they come in town with their big and man, those horses were huge too. I didn't the
Yeah.
horses, and then they shoot up the town, and
Oh,
then
wow.
yeah. And what happened is that the Younger Gang, they got all Bob Cole Younger got shot 11 times, and survived. They the Jameses, they left the Youngers behind. They went to prison for life, and then they got out about 30 years later, and then they went on to other things. And then the James Gang, they got back to Missouri, and David Carradine played. You remember Kung Fu? David Carradine, right?
Right. I
He
didn't know he
played.
had a brother. I didn't know he had a brother.
He had three brothers: uh, David Carradine, Keith Carradine, and Robert Carradine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're all three big. Yeah, Keith Carradine made a lot of movies and TV shows, and Robert, when he was young, he made a movie with John Wayne called The Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's done some other stuff, and Stacy Keach and his brothers done quite a bit, and the Quades,
Yeah.
but. I thought the most memorable saying there's their youngers are all shot up there, and and Cole Younger says, the Jameses leave them behind, right? And
Right.
Cole Younger says, where in the hell is Missouri? Okay. And from then on, the James gang was done. They never, Jesse got back to, they got back to Missouri, and he was trying to get another gang together, and then the Fords, they shot him in the back. He was straightening a picture. Allegedly, he
Oh,
was
wow.
home sweet home sampler they used to put on the walls back then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Frank James lived for a long time. He turned himself in and didn't go to jail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
That's interesting.
he lived to like till the 1920s, and he was actually an usher at the Fox Theater in St. Louis in the 19 late 1920s.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of like
And-
D.L. Cooper, right? D.L.
Yeah.
Cooper. He
Yeah.
apparently uh, jumped off of the back stairwell of that 727. Was it a 7? Was it 727
Yeah.
or something
I
like
think
that?
so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess they found the money years later somewhere in a Seattle riverbed or something, but nothing else. you know,
That,
you know.
yeah. The reenactment was kind of cool because that's the reason why we stayed another week because I wanted to see that reenactment. I wanted to get, my grandson to see it, and we had a pretty good time. They had, like Pioneer Days, and Northfield. I like Northfield, Minnesota quite a bit because it's still the same old buildings are downtown and stuff. So they, they, you know, they know that they're famous, so they kept all the historic buildings and stuff.
Right. Right.
And then, actually the Long Riders, that scene in the Long Riders was filmed there back in 1982. They changed it over the way it was in 1876 and everything. And it's a good movie. Highly
Yeah.
recommend it.
Yeah.
But it was a good deal. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Well, today we're going to look at the product releases that were announced by Apple this week during their announcement, which I think was on Tuesday. And I think most of the products are going to be available for purchase starting September 19th, I believe.
I think so too.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and flip over to our other screen, and we've got our virtual iPhone up. And of course, they released an entire iPhone 17 family. They released the 17 Pro, the 17, the iPhone Air. I don't think it's part of the 17 family, is it?
No,
It's just called
completely
iPhone
different
Air.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely different phone.
And of course, they released some new AirPods, excuse me,
Yeah.
and a new watch. And I think that was about it, right, Doug?
That's about it. The big deal was the iPhone Air.
Right.
And that was the big deal. And then,
Now is
which was
this supposed
interesting.
to replace the SE or not?
No. This is an entirely different category. If you turn that, okay, the big deal is it's made out of, we can always say it's our thinnest iPhone ever. That's what they always
Right.
say, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also too, it's the camera. You look at the iPhones last year and then again this year. Okay, they have three cameras in the back, right?
Right.
This has one camera. Okay, and all those cameras that are in the other phones, all those type of cameras on the other phones are all in one,
Oh,
all
wow.
in one camera. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I know that Leo Laporte was very critical of the camera, primarily what he called the bump, or he better yet, he called it the butte. A butte is one of those monuments in Monument Valley. I thought that was pretty harsh, but
On the
it
air,
doesn't on the air. Yeah, yeah,
really. And
yeah, he was.
what did Jason Snell say? Was he there?
No. This was just a snippet that I saw over YouTube.
Oh,
He
okay.
called it he called it a butte. Now, it does seem kind of different, right? I mean, they've all had a slight bump, but obviously I'm not sure if the bump is just larger or it's because the phone is thinner, right? In other
Yeah,
words, is it the same bump? I don't know, you know.
I don't think it's much of a bump. I didn't see the Leo Laporte deal. But Jason Snell, I rely on Jason Snell more than I do Leo anymore. And Jason Snell's on MacBrick Weekly, but then
Right.
he also did a podcast right after the event. So I watched the podcast right after the event, and both Jason Snell and his partner were very enthusiastic about the iPhone Air.
Yeah. Now, one of the
especially the
things, yeah.
especially the selfie feature.
Now, is I think 48 megapixel is the highest we've seen on most phone cameras, right? For quite a
Uh,
while.
yeah, there might be some oddballs out there, but they're not around anymore.
I
Um,
mean, it almost seems like we've maxed out at 48 megapixels or something. You know, I don't
yeah,
know.
pretty much. But there again, the big feature on that is that you can take selfies because of the camera. Okay, you can take selfies in landscape mode
Oh,
because
wow.
it has a face. The if you your iPad Air, your iPad has a thing called like Center Stage where it
Right.
looks at your face, right? And these phones here have the same thing.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you
Yeah,
have
they mentioned center stage that the
Center
front
Stage,
camera. Right.
yeah. So if you want to take a picture of your family and say you got a couple kids and all that, well then it's going to get the whole group into the deal. They mentioned the fact that there's like 5 billion selfies that are taken every year.
Right.
And Diva immediately said, well, she took like 1 billion of them. So, yeah, we listened to the analysis or the event on them coming back from Minnesota on Tuesday. Okay, and so that seems to be the big feature, and it's made out of titanium. The band around it's made out of titanium, which is the thinnest and lightest material there is, strongest.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that they also mentioned was that it's it's coated. I guess I don't know if coated is the right word in ceramic shield 2, I guess, which makes it what indestructible for the most part.
So they say, yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Indestructible.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was, and of course, Apple Intelligence is built in, right?
Right.
Yeah, Apple Intelligence is built in, and it says the all-new iPhone Air is is impossibly thin, like you mentioned. It's 5.6 millimeters, and it only weighs about 165 grams. Now, I'm not an English measurement kind of guy, but I'm not sure what that means in pounds or ounces.
Oh, we'd have to convert it over. But
Now it's got a 6.5-inch display and it's powered by this A19 Pro chip. Is that a chip
hmm
that is powered on the other phones or no? Or is
no,
that a
I think
brand new
the other
chip?
phone. I think the iPhone Max and the regular iPhone, the iPhone Max and the other phone, they have the A19, but then the other phones below it are just the A19. It's sort of
Right.
like if you want to get it straight, like when they do a MacBook and a Mac Air, or an iPad and a iPad Air, they always put that Pro in there
Right.
for the higher price one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
it's
there's
about the
three.
same thing.
Yeah, there's four colors, excuse me. There's some light bluish one. I can't, it's called sky blue.
Yeah,
And then they've got something called light gold.
right.
And of course, your cloud white. And of course, black. Right? So they're not very vibrant colors, right? They're more neutral colors. I'm a little surprised, right? They usually like to have these fruity colors, you know.
Yeah, like gold's not. I heard the light gold's not very good.
Yeah.
It just hardly. Yeah, it sucks.
And of course, they're saying that it's a new camera, new front, new rear, new camera.
Yeah, yeah,
Center stage front camera, 18 megapixels. Fusion main camera is 48 megapixels. They're capable of recording in 4K, 60 frames a second with Dolby Vision. And it's got 4 lenses in your pocket. So basically, as you mentioned, Doug, instead of having those 4 lenses like you did in the old phones, that single lens uh, replaces all 4. And when I first saw
Yep.
it on Tuesday, I was like a little disappointed because I hadn't looked at the specs or anything. I said, why in the world did they go to a single camera? You know, but now I understand. You just need that lens. You know,
Well, they saved a lot of real estate too.
right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So, which means they could put a bigger battery in it.
yeah.
And I
So
believe this.
let's.
I believe this is the first phone that has the Apple engineered and produced modem too.
Yes, yes. They did say that they used their own modem. They were getting them previously from Qualcomm.
And they had a big lawsuit going on. They were in
Right,
litigation for years.
right. I mean, that was a gravy train for Qualcomm. You know, Qualcomm used to manufacture phones back in the day, right? And
Yeah,
then they
back in the
got out
day.
of that
Yeah.
business. They got out of that business because they found out they could supply everybody else with the chips, including Apple, right?
Right.
So they've had that gravy train for a long time. It's about to end,
Exactly.
you know?
Yes. Yeah. Apple's always been known for trying to do is to be control its own destiny. They learned a lesson about I don't know 5 or 8 years ago when they were getting chips from on their computers from Intel,
Right,
and Intel was way behind on chip design and stuff. So Apple says, and the Macs were way behind in performance than anybody else. And then what happened? They said, well, we need to be in charge of our own destiny. So
right,
they hired a whole bunch of engineers away, and they designed their own chips. Same thing with their maps. Okay, and same thing with the Gorilla. Well, now they call it something else, but back in the day with Gorilla Glass and stuff.
right,
So they like to be in charge of their own destiny.
right. Well, they talk about here the A19 Pro chip, right?
Right,
It's got advanced features like cleanup in photos and Apple Intelligence. They talk about the C1X modem, which we just talked about, which is their own modem versus using Qualcomm's, right? So they've done
right.
that. The A19 Pro chip delivers the fastest CPU in any smartphone and introduces the most advanced GPU. So for gaming, for mobile gaming, that's going to be pretty cool, right? Because it's going to have a powerful GPU. And it has a built-in, each core has a built-in neural accelerator. And so the CPU alone is 40% faster than the chip in the i14 Pro. And then, of course, with the C1X modem, uh, it's the most power efficient iPhone ever made. So that's pretty cool. It says improved battery life up to 27 hours of video
Hmm.
playback and
Right,
up to 50% charge in 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, you should be able to charge your phone at least halfway, right?
right.
Yeah. So if you compare that to the iPhone 14, I'm not sure why they use the iPhone 14 as the benchmark, but it's 40% faster because it's got 6 cores on their CPU. Um, it's 70% faster because it's got 5 cores on their graphics processing unit, and it can support 4 hours more of playback. So not a little bit of additional playback, but just about 4 hours. Let's see. And of course, it's going to support Wi-Fi 7. I think here I've got Wi-Fi 6. I don't have Wi-Fi 7. And Bluetooth 6. I don't. know that existed. I'm still dealing with Bluetooth 5. And I'm not sure what this thread is all about, but it says, oh, and by the way, no more physical SIM chips. It's all eSIM.
Yeah. Yeah, that they kind of on the other phones they did that a year or two, a couple years ago.
Right,
Like even the phone. I mean, I've got a used phone. I got Diva's phone, and that's a eSIM too.
right.
But
Yeah,
I mean, you can have two different phone numbers on the phone,
right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think my phone here is also eSIMless at this point. So,
Yeah, that seems to be the
and of
norm now.
course, it's going to support iOS 26 as we covered it earlier in the
Yeah,
year. The
which
big,
comes out Monday. Which comes out Monday.
it does come out Monday. One of the
Yeah.
big things, if you recall from the last time we had an Apple show, we talked about iOS 26, and their big thing was this liquid glass, right?
Right.
This liquid glass where the icons kind of look liquidy or glassy or whatever. And call screening, that's automatically answers unknown callers. Well, why would we want that? I'm not
Automatic.
sure. It says
I'm not sure about that.
automatically answers unknown callers. I don't think I'd want spammers to be answered, right? You know, once they share their name and
No.
reason for calling, your phone rings and you decide if you want to pick it up. Oh,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess,
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, what I do now, right, when I get a phone call, right, and if I don't recognize it, I don't answer it. Okay. I let it go to
Well,
voicemail.
I have that problem because I've got, I get so many scam calls, and I've got my phone is on do not disturb all day long.
Right,
Okay. Now I have a list of names I let get through, but let's say, for example, a doctor's office
right,
calls me, okay, and if they're not on the list, or in some cases, a doctor's office has two or three numbers, right? Okay. I don't get the call. It goes directly, it's a scam call. And
right,
so I have to give them Diva's number because she answers her phone all the time because she's has business deal and
right.
then all that. So,
Yeah,
man, a good example when we were in Minnesota is my grandson tore up his bike. We took it to a bike shop. They fixed it. And it was under my name, but I gave him Diva's phone number. So when the thing was done, they could call her, and we go pick up the bike. Because it came to my phone, it go directly to scam.
right, right.
So I can
And
see
then
the
if
logic on this.
and then of course some of the other features of iOS 26. It's going to have a hold assist feature. I'm not sure about these polls in messages, right? I guess, now we're going to have people sending us polls over messages or something, right? So
What is polls?
it
Polls.
says create a poll and let everyone in the conversation. So let's say you've got
Oh,
a
okay.
group, right? That
Yeah.
you're going to go out to eat or get together.
Okay.
Like in your case, the infamous former employer monthly deal. And you
Yeah.
guys want to decide, you guys have 3 or 4 choices of your restaurants. You'll be
Yeah.
able to send a poll to everybody so that they can pick.
Oh, okay. Poll. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Democracy in action.
yeah.
So
Is this I?
if George wants to get the band back together again, well then he can set on a poll. I'm sure
That's
he'll
right.
take advantage of it. I'm sure he'll take advantage of that tip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody's
he can
asking,
barely
is
turn the
this
phone on.
iPhone 2000? I don't know what that means, but
2000.
I don't know.
I don't know what
Maybe
that
it's
is.
to, yeah. I don't know if it's a joke. And then Apple Intelligence. Obviously, it's going to have visual intelligence that allow you to search, ask questions, and take action with the content. That's iOS 26, right? Which is going to be available
Right.
not just for the iPhone Air, but for every other phone up until what? I think it was the 14 or 15, 13. I'm not really sure.
Did they say these Apple Intelligence it's coming this year, or did they actually say it's going to be available?
They say it's available. It's going to be available on iOS 26.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
let's hope so.
And of
Because
course,
Apple got way behind on their
well,
their
not only
AI
that,
stuff.
they've lost quite a bit of AI engineers, right?
They
Meta
have, yeah.
and Google have been tossing bukus of money to some of those engineers.
Oh yeah.
Live translation, automatically translate text and messages and get live translated captions in FaceTime
Now I
and
could have used
spoken,
I could have used that when I was working in Mexico,
right?
okay, and when I was working down in Brazil, okay, because especially over at Matamoros, okay, most of the people spoke English, but there's always a few, okay, and we could get on a call. I mean, we could, have a meeting or something, and they could talk to me in Spanish. I would understand it. It would translate to English, and then I would talk to them in English and it translate to Spanish for them. So I
Yeah,
think that's
that
a
would
cool
be
feature.
nifty.
Yeah, and the same thing with Brazil, Portuguese.
And of course, it's going to have cleanup, remove unwanted distractions with a tap. It's a photo editing tool. So that'll be kind of cool. And then, of course, you know how it is. They're big on these Genmojis.
Oh yeah, they're big on that.
Yeah. And then, of course, writing tools, proofread your text and rewrite different versions until the tone and wording are just right and summarize selected tap with a tap. And then connectivity, as we mentioned before, no more physical SIMs. It's all going to be eSIM. Messages via satellite. Send and receive messages when you're off the grid. So that'll be kind of interesting. So if you're somewhere where you have no cell phone coverage, the normal cell phone coverage, you'll be able
Which
to send it via satellite.
which I was on Labor Day. We went. There's a trail up in Minneapolis, outside of Minneapolis, called the Canyon River Trail. Okay, there's no cell. It's between Welch, Minnesota, and Red Wing. Okay, there's no cell coverage on that trail.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah, it's about
That would have been
It's like
handy.
10 miles. It would have been handy, about ten
Or when
miles.
you're biking.
Uh,
Or when you're biking, Doug.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and we were we were biking, we were cycling on that trail, and I tried to play a podcast when I was cycling, and I go, "What the hell's going on here?" And then I remembered there's no cell coverage,
Yeah.
so that 10 miles there, so that would have been handy. So we would have had an accident, or we would have something bike problem or whatever. There's really no way that you can do that. But there's enough people on the trail and they're really nice, and so you can pass the word and get some help. But for the most part, there is no cell coverage.
And of course, roadside assistance will now also be available via satellite. So if you're stuck somewhere in the boonies or like an area, back in the old days, there used to be a strip of miles in the King Ranch area that there was no cell phone coverage. So if you got a flat tire or your car broke down, you're pretty much screwed, right?
I think there still is. I think because we were there last night and we just got outside of Kingsville, and I was listening to the ball game, and I lost coverage
Yeah,
for a little bit.
yeah,
I think it goes all the way to Cerritos, I think,
yeah.
you know. But another
Eh,
good example is that turnpike that you come into instead of going through Austin and Round
right.
Rock, you take and you go past the Gigafactory where they make Teslas, right? I mean, there's nothing out there except Tesla. Okay. Now, fortunately, there is cell coverage out there, but there's cell coverage out there, and but it's almost like I think that's close to 100 miles. I think
Yeah,
that toll
yeah,
road. Yeah.
yeah. I've never been on it, but I've heard it's the easiest thing to take when you're trying to avoid all that traffic, right?
Oh,
So,
I mean, all that area between San Antonio and Austin is just bumper to bumper.
right,
So when we went up there, we went through Austin, okay, and and it started raining a little bit outside of Waco, and it started raining, and it was all bumper. So I don't know if you've been up there lately, but anything from San Antonio to almost outside of Dallas, okay, is just it's nothing but build up areas.
right,
If it's not a car dealership, it's a strip mall or whatever. I mean, it's all built up there now.
right.
And Waco is huge now.
Yeah. Well, emergency emergency SOS has been around for a while via satellite.
Yeah,
They've got this thing called crash detection. It's gonna use hardware sensors and advanced motion algorithms to detect a severe crash and call for help if you can't. So that's gonna come in handy. And then, of course, Find My securely share your location with friends and family. I
which
know
we
that,
use all the time. We use all
yeah,
the
I know
time.
my daughter likes to use it all the time, kind of to find us. So they're saying, is it worth the upgrade? Apple says it's absolutely, because it's the thinnest iPhone, obviously. It's 40% faster CPU wise. It gives you just 4 more hours of playback, but it's got Ceramic Shield 2, so it's 3 times better scratch resistance. It's got the 18 megapixel center stage front camera, and it's got that single 4 lens camera, Doug, that you talked about. So
Right.
pretty interesting.
Also too, a lot of pundits are saying that there's been this rumor that Apple's going to go to a foldable phone next year.
Right, I've heard that rumor.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
they think that this is their trial balloon to so they can push out the foldable phone. Some of these features they think they could use on a foldable phone. That's what some
especially the thin
pundits
part.
are.
Especially the thin
Exactly.
part. Right.
Yeah.
So that covers the iPhone Air, and of course, they released the Pro, the 17 Pro. Um, Basically, there it's going to come in 3 colors: silver, orange, and some kind of blue. It also is powered by the same processor as the iPhone Air,
Right.
the A19 Pro chip. Let's see. Let's see. Colors. Let me call the real colors. They call it Cosmic Orange. I love
That's a
Apple.
new car.
They come up with these great color names.
Yeah.
Deep blue, and of course silver. Oh, they didn't get too dramatic there. Now apparently it comes with 3 cameras, right? And it's got a big zoom forward, up to 8x optical quality zoom. And of course, it's a 48 megapixel camera.
Hmm.
It says it's got the largest telephoto lens or the capability ever. Um, they claim that it's like having 8 professional lenses in your pocket. I'm not a photographer. I know Diva is, so she knows all
Hmm.
this stuff about aperture and focal length. I don't know any of this, but I think it probably sounds important for professional photographers, right?
Well, put it this way: we took all her camera gear to Minnesota, okay,
Yeah.
and her 3D Mark III and all that kind of stuff and everything, and she did not even get it out of the case the whole time, and
Oh,
she
wow.
took all kinds of pictures.
Yeah.
She's got the seven. She's got this phone, last year's model.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, definitely, it's definitely geared to photographers, you know.
yeah.
And of course, the front camera comes with center stage.
Jason Snell seems to think that's going to change the whole thing. People, that's going to be the everybody's going to be wanting that because everybody wants to take selfies, and by doing landscape selfies, you can do a group. You can get the whole group in.
Right. Well, according to Apple, from home movies to Hollywood productions, the iPhone 17 Pro is up to any challenge with more pro video features than ever. Just
Right.
like enhanced video stabilization, cinema grade specs, and whatever industry standard workflows they're talking about. So it's kind of geared more to like filmmaking more than anything else. You know, it's
It's
40%
funny. They,
faster. Go ahead.
yeah, it's funny. I don't think they mentioned the Pro Max though. On the, I mean, they're still going to do a Pro Max.
Right.
The only difference between the Pro Max and this phone is the Pro Max is bigger.
Yeah. Now
Everything
look at
else is the
this.
same.
Up to 33 hours of video playback. Up to, oh, look, they do mention the Pro Max. Up to 39 hours video playback on the Pro Max.
Oh, okay.
And you'll be, with the iPhone 17 Pro, it'll charge halfway in 20 minutes. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
And of course, this one is going to support Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, 5G connectivity, and an eSIM, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's correct.
Yep. And then, of course, for the rest of us, the iPhone 17, you know,
Yeah.
the cheapest phone, I think, $799, according to,
But they still do the SE though. I think they still. I mean, probably last year's model of the SE.
right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Now, this one sports two cameras. What the heck? There we go. It's going to come in 5 colors: lavender, sage, mist blue, white, and black. And just like all the other cameras, it's going to have an 18 megapixel center stage front camera. So all of
Yep.
these phones released have this center stage camera.
Correct.
And of course, the back side, the back camera, is going to be a 48 megapixel, a Fusion main camera, but it's only going to have 2x optical quality telephoto. So, if you really want to zoom into a Starship launch, you may want to take the iPhone 17 Pro Max for that one because it's got 8x. So, let's see here. It's powered by the A19 chip, not the Pro, but a regular A19 chip. Just like the i17 Pro, it's said to charge in 20 minutes. And they're comparing it to the iPhone 13, so it's 50% faster. The graphics are 2 times faster, and 11 more hours of playback. So that's that for the phones. And of course,
These cameras are really.
Yeah,
These
go ahead.
cameras are really just on these phones are just unbelievable. Because for example, they won't let you take a regular camera into a baseball game now, Major League Baseball game.
Why not?
I don't know why, but they won't let you take one in. So
Wow.
everybody's got a phone, and they're all taking pictures all day long in the baseball game. And you go back to the old days. Okay, the photographers, where like on the natural, where the Robert Redford's swinging and all the light bulbs go off and all that kind of stuff. The
Right.
light, the back in the day, back in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, the photographers, the sports photographers, they sat at the on deck circle.
Mm-hmm.
They sat real close to the plate. Okay, and so I would imagine there was a lot of photographers that got hit in the head with a baseball, because they were right there next to the batter.
Now,
Now
now, now,
all these,
I now I know we've got our baseball show coming up next week, but just two
yeah.
minutes on your opinion on this lady that got in trouble, that got fired, by the way, for what was the deal there with
Oh,
that?
Karen,
Yeah,
Karen. Okay,
yeah.
this is what happened. They were playing. The Phillies were playing down in Florida. I think they were playing Miami, and Harrison Bader for the Phillies hit a home run. Well, what happened was is they were Karen, we call her Karen, and this guy with his son celebrating his birthday was out there in the bleachers. Okay, so she wanted to catch the ball, and he reached over and caught the ball and gave it to his son. Well, then she came back and she started yelling and screaming at him. So she gave so the guy so the father didn't want any problems. So the father gave the ball, took it out of his son's hands, and gave it to Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, and all shot on TV. It was all on TV, right? And
Right.
so there was, and she was yelling and screaming and all that kind of stuff. So the ushers came and took her out. Okay, and then later, what happened was that Harrison Bader found out about it, and they took the father and the son down to the clubhouse, and he gave them an autographed bat, and then the Miami team, one of the ushers came back with a whole bunch of souvenirs for the kid.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
and then later on, Camping World, Camping World was there. The CEO of Camping World was there, and he gave them, the father and son, an all expense paid trip to the World Series this year.
Oh wow. That was
Okay,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So meanwhile, you know, the chick we call Karen, okay, she's been ostracized and everything else.
She
So
lost her
I think
job,
she kind
right?
of looks like, yeah, I think she kind of looks like Pocahontas myself, you know,
I thought it was
doesn't she?
Pocahontas for a while, right?
I thought it was Pocahontas too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, on Twitter, somebody had morphed a picture of Pocahontas on Karen's body there.
Oh my
This chick
gosh.
claims it wasn't her because she says she's not that skinny. She wishes that she was that skinny. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's all over the place. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, they released
But my point,
AirPods, right?
yeah, AirPods. That's what I'm interested in, AirPods.
Yeah. AirPod Pros 3. And
Yeah.
I'm using just regular AirPods with noise cancellation. Now, these are the ones with the noise cancellation and the hearing aid thing, right? So I've got those. But the only thing is, I think the AirPod Pros are a little bit more comfortable, right? Because they've got the cushiony stuff. The ones that I'm wearing don't. They're the plasticky ones, you know. But it's got noise cancellation, right? Active noise cancellation. And it's got an all new heart rate sensing during workouts. What does that mean?
The same thing, like on your watch now.
Right?
Okay. When I'm riding my bike, okay, I have my watch on, okay, and then it has my heart rate and stuff,
Right.
okay. Well, this has it on the AirPods.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's cool.
And of course, so now, we forgot to mention that the big feature is too now is that blood pressure.
Right. There was some talk about that. There was definitely
Yeah.
some talk about that.
Yeah.
And
It
of
basically what
course,
it is based on algorithm, but it just tells you if you got what's the word, if you got problems with your blood pressure.
right,
I mean, it's not going to give you like 120 over 63 or something like that, but if you have hypertension, okay, if you seems like you're going to have a hypertension problem, it gives you a
right.
notice.
Well, the next thing they introduced is a new watch. It was the Apple Watch Series 11. And as you mentioned,
Yeah.
the big core feature is you'll get notified of chronic high blood pressure. So
Mm-hmm.
it's got something called Boost Your Fitness with the new Workout Buddy. They're claiming that it's going
Yeah.
to. Yeah, go ahead.
What happens is that you know, like you know who Bill Maher is, right?
Yes,
Bill Maher, the comedian. Okay,
right,
he's always talking about the robots. He's got this deal about robots. He hates robots. Okay, so he's always on a deal about robots, and he hates getting his car. He doesn't like driving his car anymore because he has to argue with his car what to do. Okay, so
right,
this kind of the same thing. So, for example, you're on a workout, and at the end of the workout, it'll say, "Oh, good job, Doug. You did this." Okay. Or, come on, Doug, you need to cycle a little bit. You need to go a little bit faster on your workout.
right.
Okay. So it talks to you while you're working out.
Yeah. Well,
So another case where the robots are taking over.
they also released a new SE watch, SE3
Yeah.
as well. And of course, they released an Ultra 3,
Uh, now
the
that's
one that you
now
want,
that's the
Doug.
watch I want. That's the one I want. Yeah. That's the
Yep.
one I want.
And those are the products that were released. Doug, if you had money to burn, which one would you get? Or would you get all?
I
Or
would
would
get
you
the
get all of
ultra.
them?
I would no. I'd just get the ultra watch,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
watch 3, because
yeah.
the face is bigger. Okay,
Right,
so it's a bigger watch, and my eyesight is bad enough the way it is, and I can see it. And then not only that, it's got some other features on it that is kind of cool.
yeah.
And um, I've seen there's not down here you don't see too many ultra watches in the wild,
Right,
but I up in Minnesota, Taylor's next door neighbor has an ultra watch,
yeah,
and I kind of like him. Matter of fact, I wouldn't mind getting an ultra watch with the cellular, even though
yeah.
I got to pay an extra $15 a month more for the cell feature. Okay, but I don't have to take my phone anywhere.
Right.
Okay, and even when I'm riding my bike, okay, I really don't even have to take my phone
Well, I know that
because you can do everything on your watch.
my daughter wants a new phone, and maybe the iPhone Air may be an option for her.
Well, actually, you would think the iPhone Air would be more money than the rest of the iPhones, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
less money than the Pro and the Pro Max,
Right, right.
substantially,
So yeah, so
substantially.
I'm at first I was skeptical on Tuesday when I saw the iPhone Air because I was kind of wondering where the cameras went. But now that I know that this it's a four camera in one, I think I may be open to that. So we'll see.
iPods too. I use iPods all the time. I have an iPod Pro 2.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I'm fine with it. The only trouble I have is like when we were driving up to Minnesota and back. Okay, I was listening to a podcast, and you know she doesn't want to listen to Bill O'Reilly. Okay,
Right.
and so I would have our baseball game, and 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 then she would had her podcast without an iPod, just a regular,
Right.
she didn't have anything in her ears, okay? And I would lose signal on the iPod,
Right.
okay? Or
Yeah.
for example, sometimes on in the car that she would, the car's got a deal that you can say, text Taylor,
Right.
okay? And she'd say, send text to Taylor, and the phone is hooked up to the car, okay? And then I would lose signal on that.
Right.
So I would lose signal, but I'm sitting right next to her.
Right.
But on the bike or like we're in here, not a problem. Not a
Yeah.
problem at all.
Well, I
And
use the AirPods obviously for the podcasting. I used to use these wired, oops, these wired bows, right? And I like
yeah,
them. The only problem with all of these headphones is the spongy material starts peeling. So I've
yep,
had to replace the spongy material like 3 times on these bows. I have some Beats by Apple, the spongy
yeah.
material, and I don't know what causes that. I don't know if it's the sunlight, the heat. I'm not sure,
Same.
but
I had the expensive bowls. Same situation.
yeah,
A number of years ago, and then when they came out with the iPods, I said, well, this is, you know, I'm kind of curious about the headphones that the truckers use. They're real expensive headphones and
oh, the Parrot phones, the Parrot
microphone.
phone. Yeah, they're called Parrot.
Well, Parrot Bose makes the one for the truckers because
Right.
they've got the headphones and they got the mic on it and all that, and they're like I don't know, $1,000 or whatever.
They're not
And
cheap.
I'm curious to find out. They're not cheap. If they last any longer, I don't know. But I
I
had
don't
the
know.
same problems. It was exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and at first
Yeah.
when I noticed the peeling, I thought somebody told me you've got ants on your neck, and it wasn't that. It was that stuff that was peeling.
There's
So
stuff to put in there.
yeah,
But iPhone, the iPods, the battery life is pretty good. I can go, you know, we I don't think I charged them all the way up there. Okay, and I was listening, the whole time I had the iPods in.
right.
So
Yeah, I charge
and
mine.
so it works very good.
Yeah, I mean, I charge mine every day because not only do I use them for the podcasting, but I also, when I go to the gym, I use them there as well. So they take quite a load for me over some time. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh,
Doug,
also a feature on the
yeah, go ahead.
another feature on the watch they put in this year is the speaker. You don't
Yeah.
have to have AirPods in order to listen to music. It blows through
Oh, wow.
there's only one speaker. There's only one speaker on the watch, but you don't have to have AirPods in order to listen to music or anything.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
All righty. Well, that covers the Apple product releases for September. We'll wait and see what happens in the next few months. The only last thing I wanted to mention to everybody is that we are about to open up our merch store. And if you can see, we've got Brownsville Tech Live shirts available. There'll be shirts available, coffee mugs, which I've got our prototype right now. Brownsville Tech Live
Okay.
coffee mugs, and we are right now working on a tumbler, a Stanley like tumbler as well. So our merch store will be open on our uh, mobile apps, so you'll be able to go out there and make your purchase of your T-shirt. Doug, yours is free because you're an employee.
Oh, great. All right.
So
That's great.
yeah, so we've got these coming up. We're probably going to give away a few of these in a few contests. Um, so, so stay tuned for that as well. So we've got that coming up soon. And of course, uh, later on tonight, I'm not done. A lot of people think I don't work, but I work more than most people imagine. We've got a podcast coming up at 10:30, I think 10:30 or 11, where we've got our Hook'em Horns football coverage of the game between UT and San Jose State that just occurred this past weekend. So we'll be going over that. So stay tuned for that in about 30 minutes. So we're going to have that.
Now, what is UT? What is University
UT
of Texas?
Longhorns. Yeah, University of Texas in Austin.
Oh,
They
okay.
played-
Oh,
they
okay.
played-
okay, yeah.
Yeah, they played San Jose State. We've also got another sports show where we cover the UTRGV Vaqueros. They've been doing very well. They've won their first two games.
And where are the UTV the Carols at? Where are they located?
In Edinburgh. Yeah.
Edinburgh. Oh, the
Yeah, they
college there?
converted. Yeah, they converted the HEB soccer park. They bought it, and they converted it over to football grade stadium. So
Oh, okay.
they've had one home game. Then they went to San Jose in California and beat them on their home turf. Now they're coming back home where they're gonna play Langston University here coming up this weekend. So
Okay.
it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we've got 2 additional sports shows that we've added to our lineup, including the Spin Zone and, of course, Doug's Dugout. So everybody stay tuned for all those shows. You know, some people have said
Yeah,
that
if we're getting
we're
baseball.
becoming...
We're getting in baseball. We're getting close to playoffs.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to be covering that quite a bit.
Only 2
You
weeks. Only 2 weeks left in the season.
I promise that I'll stay healthy, Doug. I promise.
Okay.
I'm going to
Okay.
isolate myself, you know. So, all righty, everybody. Well, that was it for tonight's episode. For those of you out there looking for a brand new iPhone, a watch, some new AirPods, Apple just released some cool products. And as Doug mentioned, iOS 26 is being released on Monday. So for those of you that have a phone that will be able to support iOS 26, go download it and see how you like it. So
Look for a Mac announcement in October, maybe.
Mac announcements coming up as well. So we'll probably be back next month talking about the brand new Macs. So, alrighty, Doug. Well, once again,
Okey-dokey.
it's always a pleasure having you.
Always
And
a pleasure. Glad to be
we'll
back.
see you. We'll see you back next week, and we're glad that you're back in your beloved South Texas.
right in the main streets of Rancho Viejo.
That's right. That's right.
Right in the main streets.
Alrighty, Doug.
All
Have
right.
a great
Good
night. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.